Om. 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 Sahana vavatu, sahano bhunattu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Sorry about it. So just to reset where we were, I guess a month ago, we are almost completed about more than 50 sutras. The current set of sutras which we are studying are classified as Prema Nirvachanam. That is an exposition of the principle of love. So we have already looked at a few of them. And it basically starts out with, the aspect of prema or love cannot be even described. So, this is supposed to be an exposition of love. The chapter itself starts with anirvachaniyam. That is, it cannot even be described. The form of love cannot be described. That's the way this set of sutras start. Then it says it's like a dumb person who cannot speak. If he has seen something very beautiful or experienced something, that person will not be able to describe. So that is the state of anyone who tries to describe love. And you know that the love is present in every vessel, wherever it is. So that means it's all pervading. It's also something which was described that it also then we say it doesn't have any qualities, it doesn't have any desires, and so on. Okay. And it's very subtle. Those are some of the things which we we discussed in the past few sessions. We will continue from where we left off. So I think one of the things which the previous sutra says is gunarahitam, that it does not have any gunas, any qualities. And now we will go into the next sutra. We'll just read it and then we will discuss. Tat prapya तदेवावलोकति तदेव शृणोति तदेव भाषयति तदेव चिन्तयति तत्प्राप्य तदेवावलोकति तदेव शृणोति तदेव भाषयति तदेव चिन्तयति तत्प्राप्य तदेवावलोकति तदेव शृणोति तदेव भाषयति तदेव चिन्तयति. We look at any pronunciation aspect. Tat prapya tadeva lokati. It's all simple. There are no difficult or mahaprana consonants. Tadeva shunoti tadeva. That's all same. The word bhashayati, bha, the first letter bha is actually fourth letter in the pa varga. It has to be aspirated. It's Mahaprana consonant. So you have to say bha, bha. The next letter is sh, which is also cerebral sh. So the tongue has to point upwards toward the mouth of the roof of the mouth. Ba sh yati. Tadeva chintayati, all of them are alpa prana, so non-aspirated consonants. So except two letters, others should be simpler to pronounce if you get the pronunciation right. Just as an aside, I don't know whether any of you know that when we went to Parthi this time, and when the Veda chanting had to be done, I think we had a audition of the lady, some lead chanters, and they were Rudram was not allowed to be chanted by them because of Mahaprana. The Mahaprana was not being pronounced properly. That was one of the reasons given, because Rudram is full of Mahapranas, Ubhya, and so on. It comes again and again, hundreds of times. So Mahaprana is very important. Whether, whatever the message was, I think Swami's message to us, all of us, was pay attention to Mahaprana. Okay, so Bhashayati. Then let's now look at the word split and see individual words so that we can study the meaning. The first tat prapya is made of two words, tat and prapya. Actually, I should have put, I'll just put, why I'm putting the dash is, it's samasa actually. Though there are two individual, tat and prapya, it's a samasa in the sense certain vibhakti is used in the meaning. So I will just put dash there. Okay, the rest of them actually the same similar situation, but let's discuss. Tat prapya. The next word tadevavalokati is made of three words. Tat, eva, and avalokati. And this tat and eva, when they come together to join, the it becomes id. That is the first consonant, first in a particular varga class of consonants. The first consonant will become the third one. The it becomes id. So because of that, tat becomes tad, and tad plus eva becomes tadeva. That's id, and a becomes a. That's how you get tadeva. This is a common sandhi. The next one is eva avalokati. The va and a together join and becomes va. The va becomes a longer vowel. It takes on a longer vowel and becomes va. So that's evavalokati. So all three put together, it is tadevavalokati. So I think one of the things which I want to mention to everyone is, when we call something a sandhi, the sandhi is meant to make the pronunciation of the word smoother. So this it, why it becomes it is, it is what we call a mridu, a softer consonant. Whereas it is a hard consonant. Because it basically breaks the sound in a harsh way, whereas id is a bit more softer. Okay, so that because it has to flow, the it becomes id. Okay, so that's how we get tadeva. Okay, tadeva avalokati. The same tadeva appears a couple of times, so three more times in this sutra. So, but as you can see, next tadeva is tat plus eva. Shrunoti is, there's no changes due to sandhi. Then again, tad is tadeva bhashyati, tadeva becomes tat plus eva. Bhashyati is verb, simple verb, there is no Sandhi related changes. The next one is Tadeva, Tat Eva. Chintayati is again a simple verb without any Sandhi related changes. So, so now let's look at the meaning. Tat prapya. Tat prapya. Tat means it's that. Okay. Prapya is to receive or attain or obtain. So it prapya is one of the suffixes which gets added to this root word. It's called lyap. Because of that, it means it's a verb which precedes another verb. Okay, that means having obtained that. So what is this that? That is, in this case, it refers to the love. Having obtained that love, okay, if someone has obtained that love or attained that love, the next three statements describe what is the nature, what will happen to that person. Okay. The next one is Tadeva. Tat means that. Eva means alone. Only that. Tadeva means only that. Okay. Maybe I will change the meaning to that. Maybe it's only that. So that rather than alone. Okay. Only that. Avalokati. Avalokati means to see. In this world we see, the world itself comes into being because it is see, because we see, observe. But one who has obtained love will see only that love. Avalokati tadeva. Sees only that. So one who has attained the love will only see love. Anywhere they go, they only will see love. Then I would not repeat it tadeva, but tadeva shrunoti. They will hear and listen to only that in this world. Then bhashayati. Bhashayati is to speak. So they will only speak about that. Only speak that. Chintayati, they only think that. So the love is such that once it comes into us, we will not be able to see anything else. We will not be able to speak about anything else. We will only listen, hear that everywhere. So many devotees have sung like this. I don't know whether when you hear Tamil here, because Bharati or Subramanya Bharatiya is one of the greatest poets. He says, "Kakai chiragale nandalala, un kariyaniram thondugirathu." That means he's telling, in the feathers of a crow, I see your color. So wherever we look, we will see the Lord. So that kind of, whatever we hear, we think is the voice of God. Whatever we speak, we will only speak of the glory of the Lord. Whatever we think will be only about the Lord. We will not think about anything else. So that is the nature of love. And if we have attained that, if we have obtained that, that will be our state. That's what this sutra says. I've got the next couple of excerpts. We will read them. That's nothing better than Swami explaining to us. Gopala left gopis and the Gokula and reached Madhura. Or Mathura, both are same. The whole of Gokula was suffering from the pangs of separation. The Gopikas who had experienced a taste of divine company did not want to have any other experience. The Gopikas were anxiously waiting for the return of Gopala. Every day the Gopikas were looking at the path along which Gopala might return. They were waiting to have his vision. Madhava, who knew the minds of the Gopikas, sent his friend Uddhava to console them. Nobody knew when Uddhava reached Gokula. As the day was dawning, they found a huge chariot in front of Nanda's palace. The Gopikas were overjoyed because they thought that their Lord knew of their sorrow and came to console them. In a moment, the news of the arrival of the chariot spread throughout Gokula. Unable to control their happiness, the Gopikas came in groups to Nanda's house. As soon as they came there, they realized that Krishna had not come, but sent a messenger to console them. Sinking in disappointment, they fell on the ground. At that time, Uddhava came out and wanted to give them news of Krishna. Since the Gopikas had totally surrendered themselves to Krishna, they were not in the habit of looking at or talking to a stranger. Their minds did not agree to a direct conversation with Uddhava. They took a bee as an intermediary and they talked to Uddhava through the bee. The word Brahmara is a Sanskrit word for bee, and this episode is known as Brahmara Gita. Uddhava tried to explain to the Gopikas that Krishna is God himself and that he has no qualities and that he is omnipresent. He advised them that since Krishna was omnipresent, there was no need for them to feel sorry that he was away. He told them that they should accept Krishna's presence everywhere. In fact, from the very beginning, the Gopikas were used to worshipping the pure, clean, sattvic form of Krishna. Having been used to worshipping a form, they could not readily agree to think of Krishna as a formless divine aspect. Addressing Uddhava through the bee, they said, "O Brahmara, he may be a great Yogeshwara to the yogis, but to us he is Nandakishora, and we want him in the form in which we know him. We do not want him in the form of a Yogeshwara. Will it be possible to get rid of all the darkness in the world by simply bringing a message about some brilliant light? Will the poverty of a poor man, disappear merely by his listening to the might of wealth? Will a hungry man's hunger be relieved only by hearing a description of the food? Will the disease of a sick man be cured if you describe the greatness of various medicines to him?" They would not talk directly to Uddhava. They were only addressing the bee. Continuing, they said, "O bee, by simply bringing in messages, by simply bringing in messages, is our sorrow going to be diminished? By looking at you and hearing your message, can we get the sweet form of Krishna? By listening to your message, our sorrow is not going to be reduced. In order that we may have the vision of the Lord, we have been spending each moment as a yuga. By the pangs of separation, our hearts have become heavy and we have become weak. Under these circumstances, your messages will not satisfy us." From their childhood, the Gopikas had played with Krishna and had experienced his divinity. They will never be satisfied with a message, and they can never accept the suggestion to think of Krishna as a formless entity. So they said, "O bee, keep your message to yourself. We need Gopala, but not the message. Do what you may, bring Gopala to us and show him to us. We heard that you are a friend of Gopala. We also heard that Krishna will readily accept a friend's advice. Please go back to Madhura and make efforts to bring Krishna to Gokula, reduce our suffering, and help us. Another Gopika took up the conversation and said, "We have only one mind, and even that mind has gone with Gopala. We do not have another mind to listen to you and appreciate that aspect of formless divinity that you are preaching. If we had more minds than one, we would have gladly listened to you. But now it is not possible for us to listen at all. Since we have no other mind, there is no chance of our listening to your preaching. So please return to Mathura." To this, Uddhava said, "Gopikas, do not be in a hurry. At least listen to the message that God has sent, read the note that I have brought, and send a reply." The Gopikas then said, "Gokulam is a small village. There are no big schools here. We are illiterate and cannot read the note. We do not have the ability of reading Krishna's message. We are not the type who will be satisfied with a message or a letter. For one who is used to enjoying what is immortal, a letter does not mean anything." Clearly and categorically, they said that the letter is of no use to them. Another Gopika said, "By the suffering of separation, our bodies have become hot and unbearable, and it is possible that because of this heat, the letter may get burnt. Alternatively, the letter may get drenched by the tears of sorrow from our eyes. In either case, it will not be possible for us to read the letter sent by Krishna." When he heard these sacred thoughts of the Gopikas, several ideas were sprouting in the mind of Uddhava. He was a great scholar, but he did not realize the intensity of the suffering of the Gopikas. Within himself, he tried to understand each and every word uttered by the Gopikas and gave it a sacred Vedic meaning. The Gopikas said that they had only one mind in this statement. Uddhava recognized that there's a high level of concentration on the object. He recognized that Gopikas had all their minds fixed on one object. In understanding that the only mind of the Gopikas was fixed on Krishna, he realized in it the aspect of total surrender and became very happy. The mind of human beings has three states: state of nothingness, state of thinking of diverse things, and state of concentration. It is very difficult to attain the state of concentration. It will come only after a lot of effort. Amongst the people who could reach the state of concentration, the Gopikas were at the highest level. All the ideas of Gopikas had no relation whatsoever with things concerning the world. Their attention was directed towards Atma only. Since the Gopikas were habituated to worship a form, they had secured this easily. Uddhava recognized the ideas that were in the Gopikas' minds and could understand their suffering. They said, "Oh, B, our mind is able to picture all the mischievous things that Krishna did. Although in the superficial form, Krishna and we are different, yet we are identical so far as our ideas are concerned. You may teach us many kinds of worship involving the formless aspect. It will not appeal to us. It's easy to preach. Anyone can do so, but it is difficult to put it into practice. We have been waiting for Krishna's return." Such talk melted Uddhava's heart. He found that the physical strength of the Gopikas was gradually sinking because they were not eating food or paying attention to their bodies. So this is a discourse from 1978, Summer Showers or Summer Course. It's discourse number 24. Where Swami has nicely explained the state of devotee who is fully consumed by love for the Lord. That there's nothing else which matters to the person. They were only thinking of the Lord, look for the Lord, hear the Lord, and think of the Lord. So there's another excerpt of Swami. I will just read it. It's a short one. The cowherdesses of Vrindavan exemplified in their devotion the devotee's quest for oneness with the divine. They saw Krishna in every manifestation in nature and welcomed association with it, whether it was a tree or a mountain or the ocean. They wished to be always near Krishna, to sport with him, listen to the music of his flute, and end their lives with him. This is the mark of Parama Bhakti, supreme devotion. Everyone should strive through sadhana to develop such devotion. One should not adore God when he is happy and blame when he is in trouble. Apart from the gopis in the Bhagavatam, it is the eldest of the Pandavas, Dharmaraja, who is an exemplar of Parama Bhakti, supreme devotion. Whatever ordeals he was subjected to, or humiliations he had to experience, Dharmaraja never allowed his faith in Krishna to weaken. He adhered steadfastly to the belief, O Krishna, whether I am in a city or a forest, whether I am high or low, whether in happiness or sorrow, you are my sole refuge. It was because of this unflinching and single-minded faith in Krishna that Dharmaraja could achieve glory and stand out as an ideal to the world. These two excerpts nicely describe the state of mind of a devotee who has fully attained love or devotion and their relationship with the Lord. So we will go to the next sutra. Gauni Tridha Guna Bhedad Artadi Bhedad Va. Gauni Tridha Guna Bhedad Artadi Bhedad Va. Gauni Tridha Guna Bhedad Artadi Bhedad Va. Now we will look at any pronunciation aspects first. Gauni is all simple. There are no aspirated consonants. In the next word, Tridha, the second letter Dha is an aspirated consonant. It is the fourth letter in the third class of sounds. So the second and third in every class of consonant is a Mahaprana or aspirated consonant. So Dha is that, the fourth one in third class of consonants. So it has to be aspirated. So Tridha. Okay, then the next word, Guna Bhedat. The Bhe is again an aspirated consonant because it comes from the Bha, which is the fourth letter in the Per class of consonants or Per Varga. In the next word also, Artadi Bhedat, again the Bhe is an aspirated consonant. Va. So it's Bhe, Dha and Bhe are the two aspirated consonants in this sutra. Gauni Tridha Guna Bhedat Artadi Bhedat Va. Now let's look at individual breakup of words. The first letter Gauni, there is no change due to Sandhi, Gauni. Tridha, it's one single word, no Sandhi related changes. Guna Bhedat, there are no changes, so it's a single word, it's a samasa. I've just put an dash just to separate the word so that we can look at the meanings easily. Artadi Bhedat, again there are no Sandhi related changes, but I have put Artha, Adi and Bhedat. Wow. Let's look at the meaning of the words. Gauni. Gauni means one who has, or any object which has qualities. Gauni comes from the word Guna. Guna means quality. Gauna means that which is a descendant of guna, that which gets derived, that derives from guna. The child of a guna is gauna, you can say. So gauni means one who is endowed with that quality of being a child of guna, which basically means one who is with gunas. Okay. We have looked at about 2 verses below, 2 sutras before. We have looked at that is bhakti does not have guna. Guna rahita is something which we looked at. I think the 54th. I think this number, I think, I don't know whether I've got the numbers right, but it's okay. Two sutras before. Let me go and check. I think it should be 56 here. So Gauni means that one who has qualities. Okay. Then we can ask, how can it's a bhakti? We doesn't have qualities. How come it says qualities? So that is the love which does not have normally qualities. If it has qualities, it's of 3 kinds. Tridha means of 3 kinds. So of 3 kinds, then you should understand that what are the 3 gunas? There's 3 gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So anyone who has those qualities, okay, if a devotee has these 3 qualities, arthadi is the next word. Arthadi. So artha adi. Artha comes from the word artha, means someone who is troubled, pain, suffering. Someone who is suffering is artha. Artha itself is pain. Artha means one who is suffering. Artha adi means beginning from artha. Beginning from artha 3. This tridha actually relates to tridha gauni or tridha artha adi. Okay, which way, both ways you can take. So that means there are 3 qualities and there are 3 types of devotees starting from artha. That's what the sutra says. So I've given a small explanation here. There are 4 kinds of devotees which Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita. Arti, Artharti, Jijnasu, and Jnani. All 4 of them are devotees. But the first 3 are endowed with some quality. It may be tamas, rajas, or sattva. When that happens, there are 3 kinds of devotees with qualities. The 4th one is Jnani, who is beyond qualities, who has transcended the qualities. A devotee who has transcended all the qualities falls under the category of a Jnani. But before that, they can be under 3 categories if they are impacted by any guna, whether it's tamo guna, rajo guna, or sattva guna. Okay, then, so arthadi bhedat, so due to the differences of the qualities. Okay, I think I missed guna bhedat, I think. Sorry, I don't know, got deleted most probably. I will just put guna bhedat. Sorry. Oh, I think I didn't. It's better. Sorry. So I think one of the things which I think I overlooked was there's no Sandhi related changes I mentioned, but there are some Sandhi related changes. Go back. Bhedad. This id actually is it. And the it actually has become id because of sandhi. So in two places it has become bedad, artadi bedad. In both cases, before sandhi, it would have been it. The it has become id. I think with similar sandhi we saw in the previous sutra also, tadeva, which is tat plus eva, tat becomes tad. So in this case, bedat becomes bedad. Okay, sorry about it. So guna bedat means due to differences in gunas. Because of the due to differentiation of guna, there are three types of devotees who have gunas. Okay, who are artha, artharthi, and jitnyasu. Okay, so it also shows if that devotion is tainted by some guna, that devotee will become one of these three. They are also devotees, but they are affected by the quality to some extent. So we'll go to some of the excerpts of Swami, where Swami would nicely explain to us. The first set of excerpt I have taken from Prashnottara Vahini. Okay, so they are in question answer form. Swami has written the questions as well as the answers. We will read them. Just like these four virtues, Swami is talking about virtues, we can ignore that for now. They also talk of four types of devotion. What are they, Swami? My dear man, said Swami's answer to this question, my dear man, all the multifarious types can be included under four categories. The distressed, the desirer of wealth or power, the seeker of spiritual knowledge, and the wise one. Artha is the one who is distressed, one who is finding life troublesome, and he prays to God, Swami, please liberate me from all these troubles. That's an arti. Artha means wealth, all kinds of wealth. Arti means one who is seeking that. Okay, arti. That's the second kind of devotee. They will go and say, I want a promotion, I want a better salary, I want knowledge, I want power, I want position. All these are artharthi. Then comes jijnasu, one who is seeking knowledge, want to learn, want to know. Then the last one is jnani. Okay, so the seeker of spiritual knowledge is jijnasu, the wise one is jnani. We'll continue. The distress is the person who is tormented by the agony of spiritual discontent and who prays to the Lord in distress. What does artharthi mean? One who desires wealth or spiritual power, artha, and who worships God and prays to Him for that boon. Jijnasu, you said, who are they? Answer, those who seek liberation steadily and strongly and who go in search of the absolute. And the wise one, that is Jnani, answer, one who has escaped from the dual consciousness, who has known their identity with the basic truth of the universe. Question, tell us the names of some who have achieved fame through these types of devotion, Swami. Then it will become clearer to us. Answer, Swami gives some examples. Oh, there are plenty of names. Among the distressed devotees, I can tell you of Draupadi, Prahlada, and Sakuba. Among the seekers of wealth or power, Dhruva and Arjuna. Among the seekers of spiritual wisdom, Uddhava and Radha. Among the wise, Shukha and Sanaka. So these are some Swamis explaining what these four types of devotees are. and also giving us examples of each of them. I have another excerpt, it's slightly longer one. We'll go through that. There are four Purusharthas, goals of life, namely Dharma, Artha, wealth, prosperity, Kama, desire, and Moksha, liberation. For Kama and Artha, we have Dharma and Moksha on either side. We should try to regroup four into two groups. If we take these four and treat them as four separate entities, we will not get any benefit out of our actions. If we can combine Dharma and Artha and Kama with Moksha, then we realize that we will have to acquire wealth for the sake of Dharma, and we must turn all our desires to acquire Moksha. Wealth is not permanent, and Kama is something which wavers. Wealth and lust are things which are impermanent and keep on changing. It is not possible that man can become happy by the possession of these two things. The reason for this is that they are unsteady and impermanent, and such things cannot give happiness to man. When these impermanent things, wealth and lust, are combined with permanent things like dharma and moksha, they also acquire such sanctity and become somewhat true and permanent. If wealth is combined with a permanent truth like dharma, and similarly lust, which is a wavering type, combined with permanent moksha, then we will be able to acquire ananda in the aspect of Brahman. I will read this sentence again once. If wealth is combined with a permanent truth like dharma, and similarly lust, which is a wavering type, is combined with permanent moksha, then we will be able to acquire ananda in the aspect of Brahman. Our purpose should be to contribute the impermanent things with permanent things of life. We should strive to move on from the minutest aspect to one of infinity. When we have a drop of water in our hand, it will appear to us only like a small drop. When we take this drop of water and merge it with the infinite ocean, the drop also takes the form of the infinite ocean. Moksha is an endless and infinite thing, and dharma is equally limitless. Our purpose should be to take all our temporary desires, which have several limitations, and merge them with more permanent things like dharma and moksha. The word moksha does not represent something which is inexhaustible and which you can purchase from a shop. Moksha is regarded as a limitless entity. So long as there is attachment in you, the world will appear permanent. On the lotus of your heart, this attachment always moves like mercury. This kind of mercurial lust, which is continually moving from place to place, should be removed. And this process of mokshaya, attrition of attachment, is moksha. Once this attachment goes, what remains is simply ananda. To convert our lives to some extent in this manner is the path of Brahman. Once we make a proper inquiry and understand this aspect of Brahman, we realize that Brahman is latent. That Brahman is latent in karma. Karma or work is latent in dharma. And dharma is latent in Brahman as well. One's own self is the aspect of Brahman, and to recognize this aspect of Brahman in everyone is the state of bliss which we should seek. One who is in the path of karma will be thinking, I am in the light. One who is following the path of dharma will be thinking the light is in me. One who has moved on to the aspect of Brahman and learned to experience Brahman in everything will say, I am the light. Thus, I am the light is the aspect of Brahman, while I am in the light is the aspect of karma, and the light is in me is the aspect of dharma. So long as you say, I am in the light, you are not an independent person, but you are dependent. To say that you are in the light is to imply that you are dependent on the light. If we state that this cloth is in my hand, we imply that the hand is in control of the cloth. The cloth is not an independent entity. When you say that the light is in you, you control the light. This implies that there is something which is being controlled and someone who controls. And therefore, a dual aspect is introduced by implication. Here we have two things. One is the nature, and the other one is following the injunction laid down by the nature. That is why we say, athatho dharma jijnasa. It's only when there's prakriti or world around you, you require a code of dharma to follow. In this context, if you come to the conclusion that those who are in the family, living as a part thereof, do not have the right to follow the path of Brahman, it is not the right idea. There's a good example for this in the Ramayana. The family life is like a chariot. Husband and wife are the horses. Dharma is the charioteer. Family or the bundle of worldly desires is the path and moksha is the goal. Thus the horses, namely the husband and wife, can lead the chariot of life to moksha if they follow the path of dharma. It is not right and it is a weakness to think that only yogis, jnanis and rishis are entitled to moksha. The destination is available for everyone. Whether one is a brahmachari or a vanaprastha or a sannyasi, the destination is the same for all of them. From one point of view, what we see in our daily life, the four states, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, may be different, but in the aspect of Brahman, they are one and the same. The four have taken the paths arti, artharthi, jijnasu and jnani, but by journeying on these four different paths, they all reach the same goal. When one aspires to reach the right destination, God is always ready to respond to everyone with the same attitude. He is even prepared to lead them to the destination. God does not have different thoughts or opinions about different people. Such differences arise only from the different ideas that we have, which we have. It is wrong to attribute differences to God. There's a small story for this. One rich businessman was conducting his business. He had 4 wives. The first one was continuously ill and suffering from some disease or other. The second wife was given to worldly pleasures. The third wife was always pursuing a spiritual path and was wanting to meet learned persons and learn about religious aspects. The fourth wife was very healthy but was not given to worldly pleasures and had no desires of any kind. She had only one thought, and that was to become one with the divine. The businessman went to foreign land and wrote to the 4 wives just before coming back and asked them what they wanted to be brought. The first wife replied that she wanted a special kind of medicine for her illness. The second wife asked for special gifts like saris, jewels, etc. The third wife asked for religious books of the foreign land. She also asked him to search for information given by learned scholars concerning the aspect of Brahman. The fourth wife had nothing to ask except safe return of her husband. As soon as he gave all the things which he had brought with him from the foreign land to the respective wives, He himself went to the house of the fourth wife. The other wives grew jealous and asked him why he was spending all the time with the fourth wife, especially after being absent from the house for such a long time. He replied that he had given each wife what she had asked for, and as the fourth wife asked for him, he had gone to her house. In the same manner, Brahman is the master of Arti, Artharti, Jnani, and Jignasu, and gives each one what he asks for. Brahman will give bodily comforts to one who is Arti. One who is a Jnani, Brahman will tell him about the paths of journey and to the tell him about the paths of journey to the states of bliss or wisdom. For the Jignasu, he gives himself, as that is what he says. I think there's some confusion here. We'll just leave it. Differences may exist in the method of asking and what we ask for, but there's no difference in the aspect of Brahman. Changes that come about in your prayer and in the manner of your prayer have the origins in you. Those changes do not belong to Brahman. It is in this context that we come across the statement, Yat bhavam tad bhavati. The thoughts will determine the action. Therefore, if your thoughts are pure and sacred, whatever experience results from this will also be pure and sacred. Out of such pure and sacred experience will result jnana. Many people do not see faults in them as their own, and many people do not see faults in them as their own and try to hide them. By way of excuses for their failings, they blame God. Such defects or faults are not present in God. In fact, God is like fire, and whatever goes near the fire is burnt up, and so also all bad qualities are burnt up in the presence of God. This is the reason why Brahman is often compared with fire by saying Agni Brahman. There's a significant meaning here in recognizing Brahman as the fire of wisdom. To associate an impurity with such sacred and effulgent wisdom is a sign of our own impurity. Therefore, we must purify our thoughts and ideas. We can then recognize the aspect of Brahman. So that's a discourse from 1974 Samashavas. It's discourse number 4. It's a discourse, the Samashavas, where Swami spoke quite a bit about Vedas and the Vedic wisdom, but in this, he's talking about devotion, which is ultimately nothing but the culmination of Veda. So I will stop here. If there are any questions on anything which we discussed, and if I have an answer, I will share. Saira. Sairam, Sister.
Sairam, you want to go first?
You're asking me, sister?
Yes, Kalyani, yes.
No,
Okay.
you can go first. You go.
Yeah, sorry. Brother, just one question. In regards to the story that Gopikas not listening Uddhava, and they are talking to bee, what the bee is symbolized is like what did they are symbolizing with that? I'm trying to understand. They are talking to, I don't know whether I'm right or not. Are they talking to Krishna?
So I think the word Brahmara, there are other discourses where Swami spoke about. There's a temple called Sri Shaila. In the temple, the Shiva is called Mallikarjuna. Shiva is called Mallikarjuna. The consort Shiva Parvati Shakti is called Brahmara. Brahmaramba. Brahmaramba Saikita Mallikarjuna. So there are, I think, few discourses of Swami where he is discussing this. So the Lord is like Mallika, pure, beautiful, smelling nice, Okay, the Brahmara is something like a bee, which always goes to drink the nectar from the Brahmaramba. So the Brahmara symbolizes anything which is in search of honey, the nectar. So they could have talked to anyone. So they only talked to another Brahmara because the Gopikas themselves are Brahmaras, bees, which are looking for honey, which is Krishna. So actually the Brahmara is actually symbolizes them. They're only speaking to themselves. They're speaking to fellow gopis.
Okay.
Also the Brahmara, there's another aspect. The Brahmara is always buzzing, which is nothing but Omkara. So anyone who is immersed in the sound of Om, Pranava, is a Brahmara.
Mhm.
So that's, Swami didn't say this, but Swami has talked about it in other places.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Sai.
Silence. Yes, I think Kalyani had raised a hand. Or Kalyani dropped the hand. Yes, Auntie Sakku. Sakku Auntie, you have to unmute and speak, please.
Sairam. I don't know. I'm just want some clear clarification about Arti. When you are a devotee and you are having living in the in the world, sometimes you have to get some money out for certain purpose. And if they are delaying, especially the insurance company is delaying, is it wrong for the devotee to go after them and ask them to expedite the payment?
So you're going to Artharthi, Auntie. See, I think all of us suffer. All of us have some suffering. All of us want money or something. And we sometimes go to the prayer room and pray. We should not think that we are falling under that category.
So we should not do.
See, Swami has given the examples of Draupadi, Prahlada as artists, who are subjected to physical suffering. If you really look at them, if you look at Prahlada, did he ask Narayana, come and save me? No. During the times of trouble, they just reminded God. They thought of God, prayed to God. They may have asked, like Draupadi had the tendency to ask. But we should understand Draupadi asking is not like the way we ask. Because the thing is, Draupadi thought of Krishna at all times also. Prahlada talked only not when the trouble hits.
No, that is no. If you're thinking of God all the time.
So then we will not ask about see, if we think we don't have money, then we are thinking of money, not God.
And it has got stuck in the e-transfer procedure. If there's some made errors and
See,
you can't go and ask them. So
if the money has to come to anyone, if God wills, it will come. Okay, I think we all face problems. There's no harm in asking, but I don't want us to get confused that just because we ask for money, we fall under Artharthi. All these devotees, which Swami has given as examples, thought of God all the time. They did not even ask for freedom from the problem. They did not, like Swami talked about Dharmaraja. He lost the kingdom. His wife was being disrobed in front of him. He didn't cry out and say, Krishna, come and save. But the thing is, that's the goal of getting there. So I think, I'm not saying we should not ask if you think, but we should not confuse that as thinking of God. Because our attitude should be, maybe this money doesn't belong to us. What belongs to us will always be with us. what doesn't belong to us will neither reach us or go away from us. So that's the reality, is my understanding. So we should not think about the money has not come, but is the Lord with us? If the Lord is having, Lord, everything is Lord, then we should think of that's a training of dropping the guna, which different gunas are actually making us suffer. Is my understanding. I will stop there. But
Okay,
if you have
thank you.
problems, always ask the Lord, no problem. But that should not be confused with devotion, is what I would say.
Okay,
Sai Ram.
thank you.
That's my understanding. I hope.
No, it's
Okay,
okay.
Sai Ram.
You gave a good explanation.
Okay. Sai Ram Kalyani, please go ahead.
Sorry, Uncle. On the page 12, in that excerpt,
Some of the translation is not very accurate, but I did not correct them because I have just accepted as is. It's where it's how it's published, but I think this is what you are referring to.
yes. So this one where there's the Gopikas, they saw Krishna in every manifestation in nature and welcomed association with it.
Yes.
So what does that mean? Like, is that every experience that comes your way, you welcome it, whether it's a good one or a bad one?
Yeah. So the question is whether they welcome the nature or whether they welcome the manifestation. They welcome the manifestation. They not necessarily welcome the nature. In the sense, they did not run away from any experience in this world, but they enjoyed, I guess, the presence of Krishna in each of them. There is Swami has talked about this also, a story. Like, for example, there's a devotee, if somebody hit him, they say, Rama, why are you hitting me? That's what they would say. If somebody praised, then they will say, Rama, why did you praise me? They did not even see that person who, through whom things may be coming. They only saw that as coming from Rama. If Rama hit, they enjoyed the slap also, because they thought Rama has slapped. If somebody praised, say, Rama, you are praising me, they were not worried about they were not enjoyed by the praise. They were enjoyed by the way Rama is doing it. So what Gopikas, in my understanding, is that seeing Krishna in everything they experience, they welcome that. Because of that, they did not run away from any worldly experience. But every experience in this world, anything which they perceived or came into contact with, they saw Krishna, and as soon as they saw Krishna, they were happy. So let me take us back to this Uddhava episode. Uddhava came with the message of Krishna. Of course, they were discarding Uddhava, but they were happy that Krishna sent. They enjoyed the pain also of separation. In the sense, they enjoyed the Krishna aspect of the separation. So to that extent, they were okay, because they were experiencing Krishna even through pain, is my understanding. So they welcomed that. They welcomed that separation also, they welcomed, because the separation from Krishna which they were experiencing. Whereas in our case, if Krishna is absent, okay, something else there, we will enjoy that. Gopikas did not do that. They welcome their experience of Krishna in pain and pleasure, that they welcomed. They did not necessarily welcome the experience of pleasure or pain from the world. It's my understanding. I hope I answered your question.
Right. I think one time, I think Swami was also talking about, when Krishna comes to Radha, how she says, "Oh, where did you go? You were always here." So how do you contrast that to, the suffering that Swami's talking about here? So the Gopikas were suffering and missing the form of Krishna.
Yes. Yes. If you want to suffer, you might as well suffer without missing God. Don't suffer the experience from the world, is, I think, my understanding. that experience of separation from God is also intensely blissful, because it gives you an intense connection to the Lord. Yes, physically one may be suffering, but the intense connection to the Lord is there, means that is, they enjoyed that intense connection. So sometimes the pain in the world actually gives you as a blessing that intense connection to God. And I think Gopikas understood that also. And they enjoyed it. Like Kunti asking for trouble. Did she welcome trouble? Yes. Why did she welcome trouble? Because she could think of Krishna intensely. So did she welcome pain? Yes. But someone can say, I welcome pleasure also, I will enjoy Krishna the same way. So that is the great nature of a devotee from my understanding. I hope.
Okay, so the Gopikas, on a physical level, they did suffer the separation, but at a deeper level, they were always connected.
Exactly. That's my understanding, but I think this concept is taught by Swami in many different ways. Like we can say, Uddhava is talking about formless. But Gopika said, no, we want the form. But actually in that form, they were experiencing the formless.
Mhm.
Okay, it may seem as if they are catching the form. No, they were catching the formless through the form. And they were able to easily attain it. For Uddhava, it may have seemed, I think that this Uddhava trip is actually for Uddhava's benefit, so that he understands the theory which he was spouting. Gopikas showed it in experience. Experientially, they were demonstrating that. So there's an irony, there is something which seems unreal, that, they're holding on to the form, but they're experiencing the formless.
Mm.
So that's because of the intensity of devotion. Okay, I hope.
So they were experiencing the formless, whether the form was there or not, in both.
Yeah, it was not, the form of Krishna was not there, but even that intense separation itself is a connection to the Lord. That connection was never ruptured, which is formless. Okay, I hope.
Thank you, Uncle. And just one other confusion about the four types of devotees. So, Swami's even saying the Prashnottara Vahini excerpt that
Yes.
the Arti is suffering from spiritual distress, right? And he
Exactly.
gives such high examples for each of them.
Yes.
But then the other story with the three wives, or the four wives, it makes it seem like the first three we should not be in the first three categories. We should aim to be jnani.
Yes. So, I think the difference is a very nice question. The thing is, the first wife wanted medicine, okay, devoid of the husband, okay, in the sense she was focused on the medicine alone. But an arti is interested in the husband giving the medicine. And that's the difference. See, we can be artis like the wife who asked for medicine, or we can be arti like Draupadi. We can be like the artharti wife who wanted all kinds of perfumes and saris and ornaments, or we can be like the artharti like Arjuna. One is a spiritual artha. In the sense, they were interested in the world, but they did not separate it from God. The third wife wanted knowledge, education, but was not was ignoring the Lord, husband. Okay. Of course, the husband went to the other one. So, but I think so we all can be from a worldly level arti, we can be a spiritual arti. We can be worldly level artharti, or we can be spiritual artharti. The difference is, artharti devotee does not forget the Lord at any point in time. Though they may have some tendency. Certain gunas may be a bit stronger, but they are all devotees. But whereas the example which Swami gave, a husband and wife, they wanted, but they didn't know how to achieve that. That's where the husband went, and then they were complaining, "Oh, you are neglecting us." But I think through that process, they connected to the husband also. And it's a journey of all of us with the arti from a worldly perspective. How do we make it a devotion? That's why sometimes if we have a problem in the world, asking God is one way of connecting, but that should be steady and permanent. And then it's okay. I don't know whether I answered your question or not. Just ran.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Radha, Swami says, is a jignasu.
Yes. Radha is a jignasu because she still saw a difference between her and Krishna. That duality, even though it was very sattvic, she wanted to know Krishna. Even to that extent, you can see even Gopikas also fell into that category to some extent. They may be jnanis in the making. Jignasu is a jnani in the making, but they still see the separation difference between them and the Lord. That's my understanding. I may be wrong.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, we can close the session for today. It was nice. Anyway, Happy New Year to all of you. Sorry, last week also I could not recommence the class.
Happy New Year to you too.
Sai Ram, brother, I have one question when you talk. Can I ask?
Yes, sister, yes.
When you talked about Radha, and would there be any difference in the devotion of Radha and Meera as per the classification? Or
Swami has spoken of them as equal.
equal, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
It's equal in the sense they're not the same, but
Yes.
they have the same nature. Okay.
Right, because they're both seeking Krishna in the
Yes.
formless or
Yes.
that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Sister Saira.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
So we'll close the session and we'll meet again next week, Saira.
Sai Ram.
Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.